It's a time for pick it from China. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we are going to take a close look at the new, it's the PlayStation 5 Mini. They also call it the GS5. But this is not the one that I've reviewed earlier here on the channel. Okay, so the first thing that is different, that we do get like these fake PlayStation 5 lookalike controllers. And of course, I really love this description of the box saying professional game chip, dual rocker control and classic games and 4K Ultra HD, but take consideration these things are not even like 1080p. 4K is just a way to try to sell this, but in the end, if you're having a 4K television or an 8K, basically when you hook this thing up, it will get like a 720p or maybe 1080p signal. Alright, so this thing often comes with like, I think it's a seal of approval. I don't know what it is, like they're like using stickers to close the box. I didn't even open it up before, I just want to do this in the video. But nevertheless, let's open it up and let's see what are we going to get in the inside. A lot of plastic, fantastic. The first model I've reviewed didn't even came with a box. Take consideration when you're buying stuff like this. Sometimes they show a box, but you're not going to get it. Yeah, actually that happens. So I'm thinking they're reusing the same shell like we have seen before, only they added some new features. So to begin with, we do have like a volume control at the front, the on and off switch over here, 2 USB ports. And I think the design itself is almost like identical to the previous one we have seen. So this one comes with HDMI, input micro USB for the charging or powering. It really don't charge anything. It comes with a CF card, 128 gigabytes, so this is the biggest one. They also sell it like in all kinds of different versions. And let's see what we're going to get more in the package. So HDMI cable, we're going to get ourselves the toilet paper manual box, but here you can see like this thing is a multi-emulator. I think it's pretty damn cool. That I don't understand why they didn't do this the first time that they created something like this. The dongle, and I'm thinking we're going to get this situation that we do have like 2 controllers and 1 dongle, so that's pretty damn neat. I love it. We're going to get a stand. And of course the micro USB cable, but there's no power supply. So what we're going to do is grab ourselves a phone charger, just a typical basic one. So this is not a fast charger, this is like a 2000 milliamp, 5 volt, nothing very fancy. Of course you can try to use the power 5 volt from your television, but I always like recommend using a separate power supply for that. Alright, so let's take a close look at the controller. This is something that we have seen before here. I reviewed this plug and play system with the PlayStation 5 controllers. Yeah, this is absolutely the same story, really cheap. You can just hear it, and most important thing is the smelly test. Yeah, you can just smell it. It's like a really like chemical plastic, really cheap ones. The joystick feel very basic flimsy, even my right click doesn't even work with this one. Yeah, that is how bad the quality is of these things. It's absolutely garbage. It's just a fact. So opening it up. Opening up. Oh, damn it. I need to get myself a tool or something because they are like so tight. So here we're going to get ourselves the 2 AAA battery that we need to put in. There's no like a lithium battery inside. That's it. Like an on and off switch. Super basic. A lot of plastic. Fantastic. Alright, so let's put the stand on. And this thing will look very cool. If I can figure out how to put it on. Yeah, there it goes. So what I like about this stand is it comes with very nice rubber feet, so it will just give you like a very good grip on here. Okay guys, so when you're looking at the design and the thing that they're delivering you, it's absolutely low quality. But what I find the most interesting thing about it, like I can still remember that some fellow YouTubers made videos about the 8-bit version saying, hey, you need to slap a pie in it, but maybe that is not even necessary. With this new GS5 model, we do have options just to play all kinds of retro games. So let's plug in this bad boy in HDMI and let's see what are we going to get. Alright, so I'm powering on the device itself. This is basically what you're going to get. The loading screen. And then, as I'm saying it correctly, we're going to get us out the Game Station 4K. Because that's basically what kind of software this thing is running on. So when powered on, this is what we're going to get. It's going to be like a similar Pandora's box menu. And here at the top, we're also going to get the same kind of functionalities. So what's quite interesting, I don't know if you can hear it, but you will have a double bleep. And the reason why, because this thing has an internal speaker. But that's the reason why this thing has at the front of the device a volume control. It's kind of interesting, because you can basically control the volume and you will show it up in the display, but it's basically only for the internal speaker. At the top over here we're going to get the gigantic pile of list of games. Then we're going to get history, favorite, search and category. It looks kind of hideous because it's not even showing up fully on the freaking screen. And you can navigate through this. And let's take a close look at the category. The device itself has support for 8-bit, 16-bit, like the same stuff that I've seen before. Like they already messed it up with the Game Boy logo. They're using an N64 logo, kind of confusing. So what you're going to get basically is the same stuff that you have seen before. What they also messed up, like here, you have the Game Boy Color logo with the PlayStation 1. Like, what the hell? So when choosing in category, what it basically does is loading up like this. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to get stuck. That is something we need to... but I think we need to wait for some time. But the way this menu works is kind of clunky. And... yeah, it seems to be stuck. Alright, great. Oh, no, it's ready. So finally, it loaded up all of the main games, but it took forever. Okay, when looking at the menu, it looks kind of clunky. We do have like a moving picture at the right, but look at this. Like, the Pandora's box at least have like a very nice video, even like for 10 seconds. So I think they will do that simply because it takes up a lot of space on the memory card to do so. But the list itself is kind of... it's horrible. It's like a freaking mess that we have seen like 4 or 5 years ago with the first Pandora's boxes. Like at least add some alphabetic order to this, because this makes no sense. Okay, so let's take a close look at the search function. So let's see how it works and how fast. Mortal Kombat. Alright. So that seems to be working just fine and works very fast. But let's play some games and let's see how it actually works on this. Let's start with Mortal Kombat for me. Alright, so the reason why we choose Mortal Kombat 1 is very simple. We need to test it out if it runs. If this runs, a lot of MAME games will run fine. But unfortunate, Mortal Kombat 1 is unplayable. So it's a case of like they're putting stuff on it that doesn't work at all. Let's try another MAME game. When pressing start and select at the same time, we're going to get ourselves the old school retro. I think it was like retro arcade, quick load, quick save menu. We can mess around with the controls, but there is no way of starting tweaking with it if it comes to the MAME emulation or messing around with an emulator in general. Next up, let's try some other arcade games. So the next thing I wanted to try out just to see how the controller works, how good or bad is this freaking D-pad. Is it responsive? Any input lag? Oh, I don't notice any input lag. Okay, so doing like power moves with the normal D-pad is absolutely impossible. Let's see how it works with the joystick. Yeah, same story, it's absolutely horrible. So when it comes to the quality of the controls, it's absolutely horrible. But the positive thing is like the MAME stuff and the less demanding stuff runs just fine. Okay, so the main problem with this device is there is no way of changing aspect ratio, and it looks absolutely horrendous when you're looking this at a widescreen display. The emulation itself is not bad at all. Input works fine. But would that be just a finishing touch if you can basically say like, hey, aspect ratio, original tiny screen, that would be so much better than this it does. Ugh. Okay, so the problem with these systems is always like the aspect ratio. There are a couple of them that don't have that issue. There is something by the way on my screen. Okay, but nevertheless, let's see if everything has been configured, correctly configured. Seems like everything's been working fine. I did this part so many times, and that's what made this epic mistake. So when it comes to the... Wow, I don't know what the hell just happened there, but... Yeah, sounds good. No wasting glitches whatsoever, slowdowns. Super Beefcake. Okay, so next up let's try some Super Famicom. I was really curious about this because somehow they always mess up Super Famicom. See, what the hell is going on with this controller? Like... I still have this no idea, like the controller is going apeshit sometimes. Oh man, like the button mapping is so wrong in this game. Something we need to change out. Because you need to jump with the Y button. It's absolutely unforgivable and unfreaking playable. Oh, sorry, I said it wrong. It's B, or what is it? It doesn't even matter, you know. Everything is completely messed. See, that's what I mean, like, it automatically starts working. So this control is absolutely garbage. Besides, you can't even play fighting games with it. Alright, so next up I wanted to try some Game Boy Advance. Yeah, take in consideration when you're looking at stuff like this, it's going to be like looking hideous. Normally we're going to have like this tiny display that you're going to play these games on. And they're like all stretch out mode, including like the freaking widescreen. So it's absolutely horrendous looking. And this is like a tiny display. Think about if you're having like a 40-inch. Oof. But the weird thing is, like, when you're listening to the other games, the Mega Drive and 16-bit stuff, it seems to be running just fine. But somehow they completely like dropped the ball with Game Boy Advance. It looks really good, but it sounds freaking awful, and there is nothing you can do about this. Okay, where I was really most excited about is that we can play PlayStation 1, or we're able to run it. But when you're listening closely to the audio, it doesn't run on the full 60 FPS that it's supposed to be. Like, it runs really choppy. Some parts are playable, but with the PlayStation 1 part I wanted to do like multiple testing, so you can hear the slowdown here and there. Unfortunately I cannot show you the FPS counter. They locked the system in the back end, so that is the main problem with these body devices. Okay, so they messed up that part of the controls too. But let's try a different game that's maybe less demanding. Alright, so next up try just a basic game, two-dimensional one, just to see if it runs okay. Okay, loading times are very long. They also removed the freaking audio. And so far so good, I don't hear any weird things going on. I've seen this before, that the devices they're running in combination with the emulator are just not powerful enough to run the games. And when you're looking at like some two-dimensional stuff, it runs a little bit better. But it does got like a very long lead times. Yeah, so when it comes to two-dimensional stuff, it seems to be running just fine. Alright guys, so let's do a quick teardown, or I'm hoping we can do a quick teardown, because it's going to be like a freaking nightmare with these things. You can see at the bottom, by the way, is the speaker, but I just want to open it up just to see how it looks. There are no screws, so I'm thinking, oh boy, it's going to be like clicked together. This is like an absolutely nightmare to basically disassemble. Let's remove the SD card to be sure, and let's give ourselves some power tools. Alright, so that was quite easy. I must say, like, it's way easier than the previous one. Wow! So the first thing I'm noticing, like, the speaker got a very big magnet. It also gives like most of the weight of the device, and I think it's pretty damn neat. If you have like an LCD monitor, not a TV, but an LCD monitor that doesn't have the option for this, you can just use the internal speaker. But let's take a close look in the inside. At the front, we're going to get ourselves the connector over here that's connected at the front with the volume control, the on-off switch, and the USB port, and of course the power on LED. Then we do have like over here the main board. We don't need to like disassemble it because you can already see what's on it. But unfortunate, what I don't like about these things is that they get really hot, and it's like a very like tiny effort, like to put something on it to give like a cooling reduction to, let's say, passive cooling thing. It's a little bit of a bummer they don't do that. Alright, so very hard to record, but this is the Rockchip 3032, so it's absolutely like a very low underpowered one. And yeah, we have seen it before in handhelds, but also like with the game devices, because they are like cheap to buy and very cheap to produce these devices. Yeah, so we do have like the plus minus connection over here for the speaker, or so that's what we're going to get. So there's nothing much to see, to be honest. Like, to show some interesting things are here we have USB, U-boot, but there's nothing much you can change about it. Over here we do have like the information version 1. So here we can see the production 2022. So this is absolutely a very, yeah, I say not a very old product. Let's put it that way. So it's quite interesting to see what in the inside, but yeah, let's be honest, there is nothing much to have in the inside. But is this better than a Raspberry Pi? Yeah, it depends. If you slap a Pi 4 in it, you can play so much more, but yeah, out of the box, it's an interesting product. So let's click it back together. Quite interesting construction. By the way, when I opened it up, I completely forgot to mention, like, this thing smells like plastic, chemical plastic in the inside. Okay, well, let's talk about the final conclusion of this thing. Because That is something that we need to do. So for the final conclusion, I must say that I am disappointed. The reason why is that I was hoping to get something like a mini PlayStation 5 console that has a lot of emulation capabilities. It does have the capabilities, but when you're testing it, you can see like GBA was absolutely unplayable, and PlayStation 1, what I was most excited about, doesn't run very well, especially the 3D games. So the controls are absolutely garbage. Yeah, the case itself, I think it's more like a novelty than something I personally can enjoy. 16-bit is great to run on this, but in the end, if you're going to play more of it, you will find maybe some issues. But the most biggest problem is the controller, so you need to get yourself like another one. But nevertheless, I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell. Let me know in the comments what you think of this, and it would be great to see you in the next video.